Chris Lee and Joey Dwyer here. Vanderbilt has defeated Florida Atlantic 12-11 in its opener, a wild game. Jonathan Vastine has a two-run single to left to win it. Actually, a double. I guess they gave him a double in probably the weakest hit ball of the game. But that's baseball for you. Vanderbilt blows a 6-run lead, comes back and wins anyway. Before we dive into the video, reminder, we thank our sponsors, the Wash House, Anchor Impact. We thank our baseball sponsor, the Murfreesboro Pure Milk Company, and, of course, Southern and Belk and the Maynard Nexon Group. So thanks to all you guys. All right, but let's get into it. We just got done talking to Tim Corbin. That was a wild one. It wasn't the prettiest day of baseball. There were some issues with the pitching. But if you want a takeaway maybe, I guess I'd say this. For everybody worried about the bats, the bats were pretty strong today. Not just Vastine's hit. He hit a home run. R.J. Austin hit a home run. First pitch of the game, Jack Bolger, who hit leadoff. That almost broke our board, but looks like it might be something there with that. Vanderbilt really hit the ball well today. We'll get into the pitching and some other stuff, but I thought that was one of the big takeaways is this team with Davis Diaz batting 8th and Jonathan Vastine batting 9th. I think they had that on the bingo card. Really not just hit the ball, but I thought approached the at-bats pretty well.
Yeah, you notice especially in the 9th, I think the approach was really solid. Yeah. Everybody seemed to put together a good at-bat. Even Alan Espinal, who struck out, everybody put together a good at-bat. The thing I noted today with the bats was power, Chris. They had 3 homers, and that was something we thought about going into the season. Maybe this team doesn't have a whole lot of. Jack Bolger hit it first pitch of the game that Vanderbilt saw. R.J. Austin hit one, I think, in his second or third at-bat, and then Jonathan Vastine poked one out to right field. I don't think either of us thought that was a homer off the bat, but it was. Just kind of shows you this team maybe does have something, and we talked about in the preseason, it doesn't have to be Laniv going off for 25 homers or anything like that. It just has to be guys gradually improving, and I think we saw that today. Those are 3 guys that are candidates to gradually improve in terms of their power, and I think Vanderbilt's lineup as a whole was pretty good today. You saw veterans be veterans in the 9th inning. I know people hate when I say that, but Tim Corbin kind of went along with that in the postgame when it's talking about he was more comfortable having Espinal, Hewitt, and Laniv up, and then Vastine obviously was the one to do the deal, but Vanderbilt fought through some adversity late, and old guys made plays down the stretch, and Vanderbilt found a way to win this game.
Yeah, you brought up a good point, and I thought that was one of the overriding themes is this – I'd have to look at it. I've covered all but one of Tim's teams, all but the first one. I think this might be the oldest team he's ever had in terms of how many years of experience guys have had. Certainly, I think hitting-wise that's the case. They had a 5th-year senior, I think, hitting cleanup today in Laniv, who didn't have a great game, struck out 3 times, but – sat there, and they had some really good at-bats the last inning. Laniv sat there and took a pitch off the thigh. They pinch ran for him, brought in Jacob Humphrey, made his debut. I think took first to third on a single there. It all gets mixed up in my head. I mean, Calvin Hewitt stole a base or 2 in a key spot for them.
Had that one in the, what was it, the 8th inning where he scored on the steal the second and the ball went to the right field wall or whatever.
Yeah, the worst catching throw in the history of baseball. Maybe it looked like it slipped out of the kid's hand.
It's opening weekend.
Yeah, and so yeah, it just was one of those games. But I thought Vanderbilt having an older team, not panicking, having good at bats, and it was even the point where like, man, are they going to sit there and take a bunch of pitches and leave the bat on their shoulder and lose this one? That's not the way that happened. That's been a sticking point with a lot of fans is maybe too many takes. But I thought their approaches were really good today. They saw different kinds of velo, guys that threw a lot of off-speed stuff, which has given them fits before. So I think that was a kind of a big takeaway. I thought that the lineup top to bottom was pretty impressive today. Can beat you a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this team, I think the identity of this team is that it doesn't have that one Enrique Bradfield, that one Austin Martin, but it has a lot of guys who can hurt you in a lot of different ways. They're going to put the ball in play. They're going to run the base as well, and I think we saw that today. And I don't know how you can blame the offense when they score 12 runs and when they come back the way they did. I think a lot of the bad stuff today was on the pitching, but as Jonathan Vastine said, they call them the cardiac doors for a reason, and Vanderbilt found a way to win this game and come back from a lot of adversity. I think a lot of teams would have been done after being up 6-0 and giving up a lead late, but Vanderbilt finds a way to win, and I think kind of a testament to the veterans, as we said.
Yeah, and look, this is not going to be a team that averages 12 runs a game. Don't go overboard on the hitting today. We saw some things like, also I would say don't go overboard on an overreaction to pitching. Was it good? No. They walked I don't know, 9, 10 guys, hit a batter, I think maybe. And, you know,
Yeah, walked 9 guys, 12 strikeouts.
yeah, but you usually don't out-hit a team and out-homer them and lose, especially not at home. And that was what was about to happen until Vastine, you know, just kind of a little bit of a fluke hit, to be honest, dumps one into left and they win the game. But here's what I'm getting at, okay? FAU was able to string some stuff together. The inning when Holton gave up a bunch of runs, look, clearly he wasn't as effective in inning 3 as he was in inning 2. They had a slider that we were just, our jaw was dropping over. I don't know why he went away from that pitch in the 3rd inning. I don't know if it had lost its bite or something. He started going to the breaking ball. That wasn't working. The fastball became a little more something I guess people could sit on. The ones he gave up, I'm not saying that the balls were dinked and dunked, but they all found holes, and it just kind of backfired. Carter Holton's a kid that has not really thrown a lot. That ordinarily Carter Holton would be your Friday starter. He would give you 6 innings. That's not where he is in his workouts. I thought his first 2 innings, he looked incredible. The 3rd inning, it all came off, and maybe that's just a guy who is not worked up to where when you get 40 pitches into an outing, you've got that stamina. I don't know, maybe it's something else, but that was one of my first reactions.
Yeah, that was kind of my reaction too, is maybe he's not fully built up yet. You mentioned going away from the slider. I don't know if you remember in the first at-bat of the 3rd inning, we thought he threw one too many. I wonder if that was kind of a anti-confidence point to an extent, was that he got that hit off him after it was completely untouchable early on. The guy looked silly on the first 2 that he threw, and then the 3rd one he threw was poked for an opposite field single. So I wonder if he lost a little bit of confidence there, but I just generally attribute that to not being fully built up. Really odd with Grayson Carter as well. With the delivery thing before the game, they actually delayed the game a few minutes just to talk with him about what he was doing delivery-wise, and I think that had to throw him off, right? Corbin said he wasn't all that good, but I think that had to have some sort of impact. We saw Corbin, at least Billy and I did, in the fall and even in the spring a little bit, and I think his command was a lot better. Today had 7 walks, threw 40 of his 74 pitches for strikes, so not a great day command-wise, and I think really a step back in that department, but I wonder if they make some tweaks in terms of his delivery moving forward.
Yeah, I felt like, I'm sure you've never been to traffic court. No. Of course, I've never been. But if I had, there's something called guilty with an explanation when you're caught speeding. And this was kind of a guilty with an explanation pitching day. We went through Carter Holton. If you didn't catch the first of the game, it got delayed 5 minutes because Grayson Carter was taking his warm-ups. And they scrimmaged with umpires and everything, and they found something in his delivery that they said was illegal. So Grayson Carter starts the game from the stretch. He's a kid who's had trouble throwing strikes anyway. I talked to people around the program. They felt like he was much better in those regards. And the first thing I thought was, oh, boy, is that going to throw him off and rock his world a little bit? Sure enough, he walked with the first 3 guys, maybe the first 2 guys, and ended up pitching around it and getting out of the first. But the pitch count piled up. He ran into control troubles later. I just felt like that was just kind of a rough way to go. You're getting the ball for opening day on a staff full of studs. There's a lot riding on you because a lot of guys who had played a lot of ball after Vanderbilt have held that spot. And so that was just the minute that happened, I thought, man, that's a tough ask there to pitch differently from the jump in that spot. And it proved to be. The other one, I wasn't on camera, but I asked Tim Corbin off camera later because we were sitting there watching Sawyer Hawks pitch, and he's the one that gave up the 2-run home run that kind of broke the game open for a while. And the fastball was great. I mean, it's really got cutting action. It's a murder weapon on right-handed hitters because of the breakaway, and on lefties because if you run at that end on their hands, good luck. And we saw that working. But you saw them fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch. In the pitch before the home run, Sawyer Hawks went to a curveball, and he just didn't snap it off. And you're like, oh, boy, he's going to have to go right back to the fastball. Hitter knew it. It wound up 7 rows in the seats. I felt like, and I asked him, I said, does he have a secondary pitch? Oh, yeah, he's got 2 of them, 2 good ones. It just didn't work today. And so if you're going to wring your hands about this game, and I'm not going to tell you feel great about the way they pitch, of course not. Because you got some guys that have got some issues that flared up. But it's a long season. It's the middle of February, and those are guys that I think have got better days ahead of them and some history to probably prove that.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who aren't fully fleshed out products yet, though, and I think that's the thing I'm a little concerned about. Is Bryce Cunningham really a guy who takes a step? All indications are that he does. He's got to do it, though. Is Carter Holton a guy who can stay healthy for the whole year? He's got to do it, and Grayson Carter's got to throw more strikes. Yeah. You can see at times stuff like that starts to creep back up a little bit. So with any college rotation, I think there's a lot of guys who are unfinished products. Vanderbilt's kind of in the same, but there's also a reason they're a top 10 staff. Every guy that went in the game today, I think we have high expectations for and saw flashes of really good things from. Carter threw, 99 on his first pitch of the game, 98. Yeah. Ginther, I don't think we saw a whole lot of good from. I think he was put in a bad spot, though. Hawks, I think the fastball was a lot better than we anticipated. It was we had it at 91 and 94 coming into the game, and it was at 95 to 96 sitting. And I think the curveball was a little slower than we thought and really wasn't as effective as we thought. So we'll see if that's a trend that moves forward. But again, J.D. Thompson really good today. So there's some hope with the pitching staff. But when you give up 11 runs, you give up 11 runs. And I think you got to look at that and have a little caution, but also take it with some context that Carter had that mishap before the game, and Carter Holton obviously not fully fleshed out yet in his timetable, and he hasn't pitched a whole lot. So there's some context there, but Vanderbilt's got to do it at some point, and it's opening weekend, Chris. It's February. I don't think we're super concerned about it. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet, especially since they won, but it's definitely something to look at and maybe tilt your head at a little bit right now.
Yeah, it's a game of inches, a games of little breaks. Vanderbilt got the last one today, and it comes out 1-0. So anyway, any parting thoughts for you?
No, we got a big weekend at Vandy Sports. Chris will be here tomorrow. I'll be at Vandy, Tennessee. I'm sure you'll have a lot more fun reading his coverage than mine. But I'll be back here on Sunday with Billy, and then Elena and I will be women's basketball before this on Sunday. So busy weekend for us. If you want to know why I don't have a girlfriend, look at this weekend. But yeah, it's all Chris's fault. Right. I brought it on myself, and we're looking forward to this weekend. Nice start for Vanderbilt and a nice week for Vandy Athletics. Overall, we haven't had a lot of those recently, but you saw Ezra Magnon hit the game winner, and then we cover a walk-off a few days later. So good week. Thank you, Chris.
Back at it tomorrow. He's got basketball, as he said. I've got baseball. We'll have it Sunday. I think Billy's going to be here in person.
Yeah, I'll be here too.
And I'll be watching from TV. So we'll have you covered between the three of us. We are Vandy Sports. Thank you to our sponsors. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.